At Arizona State University, we're bringing world-class education from our globally acclaimed faculty to you. Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Learn more at asuonline.asu.edu.
Stand-up comedy, cartoons then versus now, and how they encourage diversity. Hey, everybody. Hope you're all doing great tonight. I want to talk about something very close to my heart, cartoons. Yeah, I said it. Cartoons. I grew up in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, and if you grew up around that time too, you know we had the best cartoons. I mean, those were the golden years. First off, cartoons today? They're cool, they're fancy, they've got all these slick animations. Kids now are out here watching stuff like Paw Patrol, Peppa Pig, Cocomelon, where every episode is like a well-oiled machine. Everything's clean, every character is polished, even the villains are like, "Excuse me, may I kindly destroy the world today?" But if you're like me, you remember when cartoons were rugged, man. They were rough around the edges. And let me tell you, back then, if you were sitting too close to the TV, your parents would yell, "You'll ruin your eyes." Like, no wonder we all needed glasses by age 10. But think about He-Man. The animation looked like it was drawn by a dude who was just making things up as he went. Half the time the background didn't even move. They just reused the same frame of He-Man running through that forest, over and over again. And Skeletor? That guy was the least threatening villain of all time. He was basically a blue guy with no face who spent more time failing than actually conquering anything. He'd pop up like, "I'll get you next time, He-Man." Yeah, next time, Skeletor. Sure. Diversity in cartoons? But you know, thinking back to those cartoons from the 80s and 90s, they were ahead of their time. Like, low-key, they were sneaking diversity in there, and we didn't even realize it. Let's talk about Captain Planet. Oh yeah, Captain Planet. This guy was basically a buff, environmentally conscious superhero who looked like he shopped at Lululemon. But his team, the Planeteers, was like a United Nations meeting with superpowers. You had Kwame from Africa with the power of Earth, GI from Asia with the power of water, Wheeler from Brooklyn, because every diverse team needs a white dude from Brooklyn, with the power of fire, Mati from South America with heart, and Linka from the Soviet Union with wind. That's right, y'all. We had Soviet Union representation in our cartoons. And it was a woman. Back then, you were like, wow, they're working together to save the planet, and now I'm like, wait a minute, these cartoons were teaching us global unity and I was too busy screaming, "Go planet," to even notice? The 90s were peak diversity in disguise, and then, the 90s. Oh man, cartoons in the 90s were wild. It was like, every show was like, "Hey kids, you're all weird, and that's cool. We're all weird too." Rugrats, for example, was a show where you had babies talking about their existential crises. These toddlers were out here discussing deep stuff like the meaning of life and how to navigate the complexities of babyhood. And it was so diverse. We had Susie Carmichael, who was basically the smartest character in the whole show, and she was black. Meanwhile, Angelica was the blonde terror we all loved to hate. And you had Tommy Pickles, the bold, bald-headed leader with a diaper full of confidence, and Chucky Finster, the Jewish, anxious kid whose life motto was basically nope. It was like, here, kids, have a cartoon that teaches you that no matter who you are, you've got a place in the world, and also, you're all gonna need therapy. And what about Hey Arnold? Arnold lived in a multicultural New York City boarding house with his grandparents. His best friend Gerald had that iconic flat top and was black, and you never thought anything of it. They were just two kids navigating life together. Arnold had that football-shaped head, and yet, nobody cared. This was the 90s, where the only thing we were taught to worry about was whether Helga was ever gonna confess her weird, stalker-level crush on Arnold. Cartoons today, so diverse they have multiverses. Fast forward to now, and cartoons have taken diversity to a whole new level. It's like, hey, we've got one universe? Nah, let's have 12 universes and make sure everyone is represented in all of them. You've got shows like Steven Universe, where every character is like, hey, I'm a rock. But also, I'm non-binary. And sometimes I'm a space being. And also, I'm in touch with my emotions. Kids today are out here watching these deeply emotional, self-aware characters that are like, hey, you're valid no matter who you are. When I was a kid, my cartoon role models were a talking sponge and a starfish with an IQ of, like, 3. But hey, diversity, right? And let's talk about Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse. We now have multiple Spider-Men, and women, from all different dimensions. And it's not just Peter Parker anymore, now we've got Miles Morales, a black and Latino Spider-Man who's cooler than any of us will ever be. And the thing is, kids today just accept that. They're like, yeah, of course there are different spider people from all over the multiverse. Meanwhile, in the 80s and 90s, we barely had one good version of Spider-Man, and it was a miracle if his webs didn't glitch halfway through the episode. Cartoons and social commentary, and let's not forget the Proud Family. Back in the early 2000s, this show was all about representing African American culture in an authentic, relatable way. Penny Proud was out here navigating friendships, family, and school drama like a pro. And Oscar Proud, her dad, was the original dad with dreams, always failing but never giving up. It was one of the few shows at the time that actually reflected what black families were like without feeling like a stereotype. And now, with the reboot Proud Family, Louder and Prouder, we're seeing even more diverse storylines, queer representation, mixed-race families, you name it. Cartoons were always trying to teach us something. You know what I've realized? Cartoons were always low-key trying to teach us stuff, even back then. We just didn't get it. Like, remember X-Men, the animated series? It was all about mutants fighting for acceptance in a world that feared them. That was a metaphor for every marginalized group fighting for equality. But as kids, we were just like, cool. Wolverine's gonna stab someone with his claws. Now, cartoons are way more direct. They're like, hey, let's talk about your emotions and how we can all be better human beings. We've gone from watching Optimus Prime teach us about responsibility to having characters like Shira teaching us about self-love, empathy, and diversity in all its forms. Closing thoughts. So yeah, cartoons have come a long way. Back then, we had diversity in there, but we didn't even know it. Now, it's in your face, and I love it. Kids today are growing up with a sense that being different is awesome, that we're all valid, and that the world has room for everyone. That's the power of cartoons, man. They shape us when we don't even know it. So, here's to cartoons, whether you're saving the planet with Captain Planet, running from Skeletor, or hanging out with Steven and the Gems, there's a place for all of us in the cartoon universe. And if you disagree, well, go planet.
Today is your lucky day. Today is the day that our $3 website works for you, paying you directly to your PayPal daily. Imagine $3 ongoing continuous payments to your PayPal account. Imagine falling asleep and waking up to $300 in your PayPal account. How would this make you feel? How could this help you? What bills could you pay? What kind of fun could you have? What does that retirement look like now? All for a one-time payment of $3. This website is DFY done for you, fully built and completely hosted, and never stops collecting payments for you. You have spent $3 on coffee on a regular, but that coffee won't help you create multiple streams of income. Click the link below.